to Feast Week on ESPN, and welcome to Rupp Arena, downtown Lexington, Kentucky. Happy Thanksgiving as the 19th ranked Wildcats get set to match up with the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles in an unforgettable. John Pelphrey back in the building where he played college basketball to lead Tennessee Tech against Mark Pope's Cats. Welcome courtside, everybody. Tom Hart alongside Dane Bradshaw. Kentucky has won the games it's supposed to, but things aren't quite perfect. They still have a really good backcourt.
They do. On any given night, they can have the best backcourt on the floor, and that starts with the returning senior, Otega Oweh, a dynamic player, versatile, explosive, in transition when he is at his best. In the half court, they really want to get him going downhill, attacking that basket that he's so good at doing. And he's added a backcourt mate this year in Denzel Aberdeen, coming fresh off a national championship at Florida, where he played a supporting role as a sixth man. Now he's learning how to be in a starting role, as well as having to play some point guard duties unexpectedly. He's responded with some career highs so far this season.
And the Paintsville native John Pelphrey back in his home state, part of the Unforgettables. He's got his jersey in the rafters here at Rupp Arena. We'll have more on him reminiscing about his playing days here in Kentucky and playing in this building as a sophomore in high school at Paintsville. Well, Kentucky's still dealing with injuries. No Jalen Lowe at the point guard. Mohamed Diabate is also not available tonight. And so, as Dane pointed out, Denzel Aberdeen will be in the backcourt running the point. Colin Chandler started every game this season, and that three-point attempt went over the backboard. And it'll be Tennessee Tech coming the other way. The Golden Eagles have won 2 of 3. They're coming off of a road win at USC Upstate. They won that one 88-84. As you look at their starting five, point guard Ty Owens, number 8 in gold, runs the show for him. And Makai Cameron's coming off of a 20-point game as he gives it up. And a loose ball ends up with Mark Pope. 13 seconds left on the shot clock.
Love the aggressiveness there by Aberdeen. I think Kentucky must pressure the backcourt of Tennessee Tech. They've got more athleticism, must bother the ball.
Quick look inside, and now a kick out with 9 on the shot clock. Free ball off the back of the rim. The tip won't go. Kai Cameron, their leading scorer, at 14 a game off the mark. Otega Oweh left it short off the glass. The tip isn't there, and it's brought down by the Golden Eagles. Cameron looking for some space. They went under the screen, and he hit it over the top of Moreno.
He's a really nice player, can score at all 3 levels. If you take away his drive, he has the ability to stop and pop at the mid-range shot.
Here's Oweh. Tennessee Tech is going to mix up their defense as they show a little bit of zone here early on, trying to keep the Cats off balance, and they do so.
Yeah, Kentucky likes to overload against that zone. They've gotten a couple decent looks, but haven't been able to penetrate or get a paint touch.
Owens with the left off the glass.
And they need him to score. He's been a pass-first type guard, but he transferred up to Tennessee Tech with a history of it being a scoring guard.
Sticking with the zone look after the made basket, and Cam Williams inside after a hard cut.
That's a really nice catch off a deflection.
Tennessee Tech is without Jacoby Whitted. They've had a handful of guys that have suffered illness over the last week or so, so Whitted is not available tonight. He had been in the starting 5. Colin Chandler turnover. Thought Aberdeen was going to be closer to the basket for head coach Mark Pope. 13-0 against non-conference opponents here at Rupp Arena. Cats have won 19 of their last 20 against unranked opponents. Got the February matchup to Arkansas last year. That was a big game. Here's Makai Cameron now, 15 on the shot clock. Cameron dumps it off to Nichols and tried to spin it in.
I know Kentucky's not gotten off to the start they've wanted this season. A lot of noise around the program and the call-in shows, but how many places start chanting "Go Big Blue" when it's 4-2 after a turnover with this fan base did? So they might get mad after a loss, but they're going to show up and bring their A game. And that time Aberdeen treats them well with a nice transition bucket.
So tied at 4 early. John Pelphrey took his team to Tennessee last year. That was deflected by Oweh. And he said, we tried to slow things down. We got into a style that wasn't ours, and we ended up getting blown out of the building. He said, I told my guys, we're not going to change our style. We're not going to change who we are. We're going to go in and play. They're going to need some things to go their way to hang in this one tonight.
Yeah, and I think right now they're also going to have to be able to beat their man off the dribble, because Kentucky has shown they're jumping passing lanes. They're applying a ton of ball pressure. So to mitigate that, you got to be able to put your head down, beat your man off the bounce, and try to draw a second defender if you're Tennessee Tech.
Here's Owens, now 9 on the shot clock. Golden Eagles not afraid to run some clock. Muntu for 3. That's off the mark for Brandon Muntu, who gives him 10 points a game.
I think they're going to get that shot. Kentucky really likes to go under on those screens around the three-point line, force you to shoot the 3.
Aberdeen with an offensive foul. Picked up by Ty Owens. Home crowd didn't like it.
And I got to think that scouting report right there. Aberdeen, a right-handed player, but I think he really prefers driving hard to his left. Even when he comes back to his right, he really likes to start his initial drive with the left. Good job sitting on that left hand by Owens.
Both of these head coaches are looking for more aggressiveness from their teams. For Kentucky, it's about cutting and getting to the basket. John Pelphrey repeatedly told his guys to shoot around today, there is going to have to be some violence in your actions. You're going to have to play with a great intensity, and a whistle on the attempted block inside will go against Tennessee Tech and Grant Slatton. Malachi Marino led Great Crossing High School to a state championship last year at a Georgetown, Kentucky, 7-foot freshman.
It's an interesting player and somebody you maybe didn't expect to be in the starting lineup this early in the season, but opportunities presented themselves. And I think bottom line is when Marino's been on the court, the team has played better and they've just gelled. It's looked smoother and just creating some of those second chance opportunities, tipping the ball in the air. It doesn't always look pretty, but he's an effective player and has earned his spot in the rotation right now.
Long list of Mr. Basketball honorees in the state of Kentucky who wore the uniform, including Tennessee Tech's head coach John Pelphrey. Here's Cameron for 3, and Marino's on the glass.
That's where they got to run advance pass.
Johnson dishes it into the corner. Oway takes a bump, and he's had a hard time finishing late.
And that's where Coach Pelphrey wants to see him playing off 2 feet. He goes in there a little bit, it's not a weak shot because he's a strong player, but when you go off 1 foot, you're left really with one choice as opposed to planning that 2-foot jump stop. Give yourself a chance to pump fake, draw a foul easy, a little bit more easy.
So Tennessee Tech gets a couple of subs in, but speaking of coach on the other side, Mark Pope, he used the term stampede to discuss Otega Oway's game.
Yeah, and how they want him to catch the ball on the run, meet the ball, run through it.
Lob, and there's a run through and a dunk for Otega Oway.
That's one way to run through the pass right there. Just lob that thing up. A nice job, Kentucky not settling against that zone from the perimeter. Got a little penetration, lob on the backside.
Cats on an 8-0 run. And he pounds in the game. Nice pass on the back cut. He'd been their starting center. Took a few minutes to enter this one tonight and gets redirected on his way in. Slatton with the drive. Shot clock is late. It's now at 1. Fade away. Got it. Big time shot for Danny Pounds, a junior out of Atlanta.
And he's a really good player. And Coach Pelphrey told us, look, I just want to survive the first 4 minutes. And after that, maybe we give ourselves a chance. But we have to survive the first 4 minutes. And here they are.
They've done that and some. Florence out in front with the takeaway.
If you're a big for Kentucky, you got to be able to handle the ball pressure out there on the perimeter. You're going to be in that spot for Mark Pope.
Chandler with the baseline drive and two-hand jams.
I mean, that looked like a little bit of a Tom Chambers, almost like he was still going on his way up.
He's had a couple of monster slams this year. Pounds for 3. He's already got 5 points. He's only been in the game about 2 minutes. Jasper Johnson now running the point for Kentucky. An early 3 for Cam Williams. And a loose ball will be off of the Cats. Well, Tennessee Tech is indeed hanging in there. We'll take a deeper dive with John Pelphrey, looking back at some of his unforgettable moments in that uniform. Before we hit play?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think so.
Okay. Let's see how long.
Or it's when I got released from my time I served.
It could have been.
It felt like this sometimes here with Patino, like I was serving time.
Penitentiary.
You know, the one thing I can honestly tell you is that we loved every second of it. And it was like we knew it was going to end. And we just cannot make one more play. Because I was such a fan before I got here, that's why there was emotion in those moments. And at this place, whoa, buddy, you better be ready for the game you're playing and the next one, because it's coming. And because the standard here, a lot of people like to say the standard is the standard. No, this place is the standard. And it's basically unattainable. But what a great thing to chase. And Tommy, I loved it. I could have played here forever.
Man, that was a lot of fun over the last day and a half or so, just reminiscing with Pell about his playing days. And now he's got his Tennessee Tech team up by 1. Andrea Yelovich has entered the game for Kentucky. He, as you can imagine, just absolutely bleeds Kentucky blue. Johnson for 3. That's off the mark. And the Unforgettables, who he played with, and they got all those jerseys up in the Raptors, shown up, and they're at the game today. Richie Farmer and Sean Woods and Darren Feldhaus.
You can see how sincere and genuine he is with his experience here. I got to tell you, our group putting that highlight package together, that last deflection and floor dive on a fast break trailing a play was as good of a dive as I've ever seen watching basketball.
Rebounded by Trent Noah, who just entered the game. Well, it was a secret to his success. Garrison has it rejected at the rim. He wasn't the best lateral mover, but he could tip from behind after he got beat off the dribble with the best of them. Makai Cameron has it come off the rim funny. Here's Noah. He'll tee it up. Looking to get it going, and he does so. Trent Noah with the triple.
He is a catch and stick guy and a confident shooter, especially in transition. You must find him if you're Tennessee Tech. I'll tell you though, Kentucky's struggling a little bit finishing at the rim right now, other than that Chandler big dunk. Missing a few bunnies through some contact.
Nice look inside. Cameron draws a foul from Noah. The Mountain Mamba coming out firing.
Yeah, just running your lane. Nice job, kick ahead. Not a great pass, but when you're a great shooter, it doesn't matter where that ball comes as long as it gets in your hands.
5th in Kentucky prep history with over 3,700 points during his playing days at Harlan County. Another free throw coming for Makai Cameron. He comes from an athletic family. His dad Mike won 3 Gold Gloves, spent 16 years in the big leagues. Talking with Makai this afternoon. Grew up in big league clubhouse. He said, I didn't really take the baseball. Basketball was my deal, and he's fought through injuries to make it to this point of his college career after a couple of other stops, and he gets a breather.
This is a young man that had 21 at Georgia last year, and so we talked about his ability to score at 3 levels, able to get himself to the free throw line on that one. He'll likely have a short breather over there. They're going to need him back.
And now Tennessee Tech mixing up the defense again, showing a little 3-quarter court.
Yeah, just trying to keep Kentucky guessing, hesitant, not in their free flow. So I wouldn't be surprised if they have a higher percentage of zone in this game than they do man.
Aberdeen shaking off Yelovich. Now he gets the screen. Aberdeen with a pull-up. Tough angle. Offensive rebound. Garrison, and then he gets fouled immediately.
And Tom, if you're Kentucky, what you have to notice there, Aberdeen, Johnson, any of the guards is, hey, that zone will switch to man at times late. So you got to read that. Now, if Tennessee Tech gets matched up, yeah, great read. Go off the dribble, set some ball screens.
Here's Noah in the paint, and he gets fouled. It's Jaquavian Florence with his first. You were watching game film on this Kentucky team, and one of the things you mentioned is that if their first option gets taken away, you feel like they get a little sluggish on the offensive end.
Especially in man-to-man. I think they get a little bit stagnant when they run that, dribble handoff, zoom action, as we call it. And oftentimes they hesitate where they don't really know what to do next. And I think that's just part of the flow of the offense and chemistry that they're starting to get down. The good news for Kentucky fans is that that's all within their control. And where you want to be in March and where you're going to be in November. And this team has a very high ceiling, but obviously one dealing with injuries and just trying to figure out personnel and right rotations.
Yeah, and that will take a while with the injuries especially. Noah's got 5 early. Pull up rattles home for Brandon Muntu.
I do think this is a Kentucky team that can't allow their offense to dictate their defensive intensity, and I think that's something you've seen early in this season.
Transition 3 on the way off the back rim. Yelovich with the rebound. And you mean offensive struggles?
Right, yeah. If you're struggling on offense, okay, then hustle, get it back. Sometimes when they get stagnant on offense, they lose their rhythm a little bit defensively, as opposed to, hey, let's let our defense get us into a rhythm offensively.
Here's Aberdeen trying to work baseline. Shot clock at 9. Garrison fires up a triple. And a program record in 3-shot last season. So far this year, just 33% from behind the arc. Kentucky clinging to a 1-point lead over Tennessee Tech in this pre-Thanksgiving matchup. CC Basketball Challenge begins Tuesday, 3 straight nights of games. Here's our men's and women's lineup right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Most important, Miami at Ole Miss, because that's our game. And huge games all the way through. Yeah, it is a late one. And an early one with UVA and Vandy meeting up on the women's side on Wednesday at 5 o'clock Eastern. That's all next week. The SEC Network and the ESPN app. Well, Kentucky hasn't had much continuity. I mean, it's a brand new roster across the board. They brought in some big-time transfers, but these guys, due to injuries, Quaintance, Lowe, and Diabate, haven't been on the floor.
Yeah, everybody knows in this day and age, you're supplementing your roster with some key transfers. It is a huge part of your future, and you can see right there where Coach Pope and this staff have really been hamstrung there with those injuries. And now all of a sudden guys are having to play point guard, for example, that weren't expecting to have to play the point. You're shorthanded in certain areas.
Followed jam by Nichols.
You're seeing it right there. I mean, just this team trying to figure out who plays best with who. And then by the time you get that down, you get a couple of those guys back. And now you got to figure out, all right, where do we rotate now?
That was a big part of the conversation throughout Mark Pope's first year here last season. Stolen away. Tennessee Tech looking to add to the lead. And Muntu lays it in with the left.
I mentioned to you, Tom, but before this game, I said, look, Tennessee Tech's guards, I'm not saying their perimeter is as athletic as Kentucky, but they're not just completely outmatched. I mean, this is a feisty, quick, athletic group.
And Garrison blows the bunny, gets it back on the second chance, and the mulligan is good. Tennessee Tech has never beaten Kentucky, 0-5 all time.
Well, I think right there is where Kentucky's got to dominate this game. Points in the paint. Even if you miss inside, great offensive rebound opportunities.
And the handoff. Try to dump it out inside. Garrison has the steal. Aberdeen through traffic with a finger roll. And the catch back in front.
Such a nice job by Garrison. Aberdeen did not get through that ball screen clean, but he did just enough, did Garrison, to stop penetration, get the deflection, and then the kick ahead.
Looking for a post-up, comes all the way to the elbow. Jawan Nichols. Shot clock at 7. And Cats get whistled for a reach-in. Beyond Ortega-Owe.
Look at that last pick and roll coverage. I mean, Aberdeen's going to get hit a little bit here, and then Garrison holds them up just a little bit, recovers. You can't do it any better than that. Great hands, and then lead the fast break. Just nice job by Garrison. I've been impressed with his energy and response. Yes, he would love to be in the starting lineup, but since getting put to a rotation as a 6th, 7th man, this guy has done a phenomenal job bringing his energy.
Kentucky coming off of a Friday win against Loyola of Maryland. Won 88-46. Garrison had double-digit rebounds, but only 6 points.
Now he's guarding a point guard, showing his lateral quickness.
Shot clock getting late. Cameron gives it up. 5 of them to shoot for Tennessee Tech. Turnaround, kick out, and with 2 on the shot clock, a 3-ball goes for Brandon Muntu.
Nice job by Muntu of relocating. Even though it was late in the clock, he didn't stand and watch a bad shot. He kept moving, and Kentucky fell asleep. I think it was Owe on him.
Chandler turns the corner, right into traffic. Back to Owe for 3. No good.
And what Coach Pelfrey tell us, he said, look, if Kentucky takes 43s in this game, I'll be thrilled. That's where they want Kentucky to settle.
And now a long 2, and that's good for Ty Owens. Owens averages 3 a game. He's already got 4 in this one, and that's the difference in the Tennessee Tech lead.
Aberdeen goes under the screen, and Nichols rolls right into him, knowing he can free up a shot for his point guard.
This has been a very quiet Kentucky crowd tonight. Like the tryptophan set in early, and now Garrison sneaks behind the defense. And a smattering of applause.
Nice find by Aberdeen.
Tennessee Tech has made each of its last 4. Muntu using the screen. Here's Cameron for 3. Too much on that one. And Williams with the rebound. Now Chandler. And a reach in by the point guard Ty Owens.
Tennessee Tech. Good penetration here, and then Owe just sunk on that penetration. Forgot about the shooter out top. And then here, going under that screen, Nichols rolls right into the guard. You gotta, if you're gonna go under, you better get under quick and sprint out there. And that's Owens. 4 points, 2 of 2. Doesn't sound like much, but it's big for this Tennessee Tech team. They must have him as a scoring point guard, which he has not been early in this season.
John Pelfrey said he's probably the best point guard he's had at Tennessee Tech. He loves his work ethic. He's got really good size, and a poke from behind, and a Tennessee Tech steal by Muntu. Tennessee Tech shooting 12 percentage points better than the Cats so far tonight. That one too strong. And here's Aberdeen out in front, and then left another one at the rim. Second chance points for Marino. Kentucky only 4 for 8 on layups so far tonight. Chandler nearly got it. Muntu from 15 feet.
Coach Pelfrey brought his team here on Monday.
Yep.
I mean, this morning was their 3rd time in this arena. He said, we don't usually do this. We're on Thanksgiving break. I wanted to bond with some old teammates, make this a trip. I want us to be very comfortable in Rupp Arena come game time. And so far, that's paying off.
And that even helps when they get stuck behind the vice president's motorcade. We're late to the arena tonight. Back in a minute. Tech led by Brandon Muntu here in the first half.
Yeah, the transfer from Western Michigan has shown you a little bit of everything. The shot fake from the perimeter, the relocate late in the shot clock from 3. He's been able to shield off defenders and just find a comfortable spot. This is a good, solid player, but he is streaky. He is 7 of his last 25 coming into this game, but every time he shoots it, you feel like it's got a chance to go in. You can tell he's got a natural gift of scoring the basketball, and unfortunately for Kentucky, he's seen a couple early ones go in. Now he's playing with a ton of confidence here on the road.
One of a handful of transfers on this Tennessee Tech team. He's had a bunch of different stops in his career. Vincennes and then Triton College for a couple of years. 3rd team junior college All-America. Took them to the Final Four before ending up at Western Michigan before coming to Tennessee Tech.
Tom, I think Tennessee Tech has just done such a good job of controlling the tempo of this game. They have not played too fast. They haven't played too conservative either.
Grant Slatton from the corner. He's 0 for 2 from deep.
See, look, they're all hustling back in transition, calling guys out. But this is where Kentucky's got a chance against a man-to-man instead of a zone.
And Aberdeen lets it fly. Slatton's held on the rebound, no whistle. Here comes Owens the opposite way. I think Tennessee Tech has just kind of left some folks surprised here early in this game. Like that coworker brings only a can of green beans to the Thanksgiving potluck. Like, we didn't expect this.
Look, I didn't know I was supposed to bring more. Right? That's all I had in short order.
Owe in pounds. Bump heads. That'll be the second And Otega Owe.
I will go back to that last possession by Kentucky. I mean, and we'll see the collision first as the Pounds comes right through. Man. Glad to see that's not worse. Both guys staying in, but you know, I think Mark Pope would probably grade that last one a C- on the quick three. I think this Kentucky team just has to continue to trust their offense throughout the entire possession, as opposed to settling. Just because you can get it off and it's a decent shot doesn't mean it's the best shot in the possession.
Kind of a sleepy first half against Loyola. They ended up with all 5 starters in double figures. They blew them out in the second half, and they've had 6 different leading scorers over the course of the season through the first 6 games. But a pair of very disappointing losses, no shows against the top opponents so far, and the schedule doesn't get any easier. And I know every little trip up with this basketball program and the fan base reacts like the sky is falling. But the schedule that they have over the next 5 does not allow much margin of error. Chandler with the drive and the finish.
Much better possession there. They got the ball side to side, several passes, opened up a driving lane.
Here's Pounds. He can put it on the floor and drive, but into handoff mode with Muntu. Owens, shot clock at 5. Pounds gives it up again. Now 2 to shoot. Cameron, contested fall away 3. And rebounded by Tennessee Tech, but a push off on the perimeter will send it to Kentucky as Williams ended up on the ground.
And Williams is going to have to do that if he wants to keep earning minutes at the 4 spot, because he gives them a shooter and spacing on the offensive end, but they give up some size and rebounding on the defensive end. That time he does a terrific job holding his box out for a long period of time.
What do you want to see from this Kentucky offense?
Fluidity. I think, like we saw in the last possession, okay, go into one side of the court on your action on your left, and if that doesn't work, keep rotating it to the right. But they'll be up against the zone right now. But again, be careful. It might morph into a man-to-man, then you have an opportunity to attack.
Towns picks up a couple of fouls in the span of less than a minute. By the way, Kentucky's 47-2 all-time against teams from the Ohio Valley. They haven't lost to an OVC team since the tournament in 1982. Lost to Middle Tennessee in the first round. Also lost in the NCAA tournament to Western Kentucky. Then in the OVC in '71. Chandler, blind look to Noah in the corner. Splash for Mountain Mamba.
That's as good of a pass as you'll see today. Chandler looks off the entire defense towards the top of the key and whips it to the baseline corner.
Cats with a 5-point lead. Corner 3 is off the back of the rim, and Kentucky looking to add to the run. Here's Chandler with the left. It's a 9-0 UK run. And a near turnover. It'll stay on this side, but finally the crowd's starting to come alive.
Well, they needed a spark. Look at this no-look pass by Chandler. He turns down a good one, gets the penetration, finds a shooter. Chandler to Noah, and then Noah back to Chandler. Chandler was like, hey, man, have you not seen the dunks I've had? Throw that thing up. I'm not taking any bounce passes on 2-on-1. I live on SportsCenter. But this crowd needed a boost, and Chandler has been that guy right now. And it's not just the offensive plays, it's the deflections, the contests, and the baseline corners over here on the defensive side. Big-time energy from Chandler.
John Pelfrey, Tennessee Tech take a quick timeout. It's a 7-point Kentucky lead and a 9-0 Cats run. Teen Rivalry Week college football lineup Friday 7:30 Eastern, Texas and Texas A&M on SkyCast. Saturday's tripleheader starts in the Palmetto State. Clemson and South Carolina meet at noon. Then Arkansas and Missouri at Razorback Stadium in the midday, and we cap it with the SkyCast version of the Iron Bowl from Jordan Hare. All 4 games also available on the ESPN app. You can watch anywhere. How about Colin Chandler's game?
This guy's really dynamic. We've seen the athleticism of him at the rim, And it's rare to see him anywhere but the rim and from three, where he's been so terrific from long distance. Just one mid-range shot all season long, despite the short sample size. But that's kind of the new wave of college basketball and basketball in general, is try to get to the rim as best you can. And then when they start to take that away, you've got your three-point shot. And just really impressed by Chandler. You didn't see much of him last year. And as a reminder, he was the top player in Utah in 2023, takes a 2-year mission trip, hardly played basketball or could work out at all for those 2 years. And now an older sophomore, and he has exploded after a terrific offseason.
Yeah, sophomore Colin Chandler, 76% of his shots have come from behind the arc, and you see the numbers impressive across the board. That foul was on Cam Williams.
Married his high school sweetheart, Hannah, during the offseason.
That's a busy offseason. Just that one date right there as Juwan Nichols goes 1 for 2 from the line.
If she's anything like my wife, she's watching something else.
Here's Chandler getting it back. Noah's got a good game going. He's got 8 points tonight. His career high is 11. Chandler with the pump fake, open for 3. Yes, sir. Colin Chandler's first triple of the night.
Really good ball fake there. Just that small ball fake shifted the entire Tennessee Tech defense to the corner. It also helps when you've got Williams down there in the corner. That's a threat.
Now a 12-1 Kentucky run. And Chandler tipped it away, but it went out of bounds before he could get his footwork right.
Watch this ball fake here by Chandler. I mean, because Williams is a shooter in the corner, it freezes the defense just for that instant. And Chandler makes him pay, where he is over 50% on the season from 3.
He's got 7 of the last 10 for UK. And the tip and a near steal. Moreno gets on the floor for it. To Noah, behind the back, but it was out of bounds on the sideline.
Tom, that was a really unique coverage. I mean, nobody was on the ball on the inbounds passer. And Chandler chases his man and then comes back towards the inbounds passer for a deflection.
Officials tonight: Stephen Anderson, Jason Baker, Hunter Allen.
Check out the inbounds passer. I mean, he doesn't think anybody's on him. Chandler follows the guy, then he switches onto the inbounds passer. I think that caught the passer off guard. Nice set defense there on the sideline, out of bounds by Mark Pope. Oh.
Shot clock late. Florence for 3. Chandler is down after they set the screen on him at midcourt, and it was the second one that got him. That was offensive play by design for Tennessee Tech, and Chandler never saw it coming.
And Chandler has been playing full speed this entire game, and that full speed energy ran into 6'8", 220 Juwan Nichols right there at half court.
He avoided the first screen. Golly.
Well, and that's where, with his teammates so far back, they weren't pressed up enough to yell, hey, screen coming, but that's where your teammates got to bail you out.
Got to dump it inside, deflected by Tennessee Tech. Now front Jasper Johnson. Chandler and Noah on the wings. Moreno, nope.
Just got to go up there with 2 hands. I think they've gotten some good looks just throwing over the top of the defense.
Lawrence between his legs, tries to drive, gives it up, and Bernardo from deep into the hands of Noah. Tennessee Tech just 2 for 15 from 3. Cats not much better at 3 for 12.
I do think Kentucky, there it is.
Whoa, blind look from Chandler. Another no-look pass leads to a bucket.
And even though it was a little bit lower of a pass, I thought Marino did a much better job just going up there with two hands, securing it. Even if you got to come down with it, don't try to go up there with one.
Another three. This one off the mark from Jakim Payne. Johnson nearly walked with it. Marino whips it down to Johnson, who's able to get to the rim and finish.
Yeah, he was lost under the basket for a good 5 seconds there. Kentucky finally spotted him.
Freshman from Lexington, played his high school ball at Woodford County before he went on to a couple of different stops at Link Academy, then Overtime Elite. Stepped through it up, and Noah's got it in his hands. Here's Chandler, transition three, has all day. And then Noah with the left hand after the rebound. Trent Noah is a point away from his career high. Largest lead of the game for Kentucky. It's an 18-1 run over the last 5:41. This game was tied at 25 just a minute ago.
We'll see here where Kentucky gets a good look from three in transition, and then Noah comes and cleans it up. But prior to this 18-1 run, it was really about Tennessee Tech controlling the tempo of this game. But as Kentucky's allowed their defense to get multiple stops in a row, that has no question helped their offense. They've made 7 of their last 8, has Kentucky, whereas Tennessee Tech's just 1 of their last 11. That's complimentary basketball for the Wildcats.
One of our discussions with Mark Pope today centered around the idea that last year he was working really hard to find the best efficiency, best 5 on the floor. Part of that was, where does fatigue sit in for certain guys? How long can this guy go versus that guy? I asked him that question today, and he just kind of shrugged. He's like, we're not even at a point where we can think about that. We want the best 5 on the floor, but because of injuries and still trying to get to know who we have, they seem to be far away from figuring that out. But this 5 on the floor has looked pretty good because he's thrown a bunch of them out there.
And it can change game to game, but certainly as a coaching staff and as a head coach, you're anxious to draw a conclusion, right? I mean, you want to be able to say, all right, these are my 5 I know that I'm going to go with, and here's the next 4 off the bench, and these are the lineups that work well.
And Noah didn't even play in the Louisville game. He was healthy enough to go, but didn't get off the bench.
But they're going to have to, and I think they have the potential to have a very versatile lineup. But, like, they've started small the past couple games, and that's good and well for shooting and spacing. But when you go up against Florida, who's playing Thomas Houck at the 3, Alex Condon at the 4, Chinulin at the 5, you better be able to go big.
Garrison with the miss at the rim again. It's a good feed from Noah to get it up front. And by the way, they also have Gonzaga coming up next week, and that is a solid, to say the least, front court. Woo! Way up above everybody is Danny Pounds. He's got 7. Big good finish of the half for Tennessee Tech.
Yeah, it would. I mean, because that was a stop the bleeding timeout by Coach Pelfrey. He could have just taken it at halftime. I thought the correct time to call one. See if they can't keep this close.
Yelovich gets it deep. Nice touch.
Yeah, good things are happening when they get the ball down low. They've missed some bunnies, but they've gotten good quality looks.
Two-second difference between the shot and game clocks. Yelovich gambled. They didn't make him pay. And Owens will wait to run the offense at about 8, maybe 7. Or 6. Or 5. A little bit later than I thought. Owens gets doubled. 2 on the shot clock. Now 1. Mid-range. Off the back of the rim. And that will end the half. Cats are undefeated when holding a halftime lead. But it was a late half takeaway as Kentucky closes the half on a 20-3 run over the last 7 minutes and 9 seconds. Feast Week rolls on ESPN. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Here from Rupp Arena. Tom Hart alongside Dane Bradshaw. Number 19, Kentucky leads Tennessee Tech 43-28. The Cats not having a great shooting night, Dane. Overall, right at 50% after a very sluggish start, and they've missed 5 layups.
Well, I thought what was critical for that late first half run there was they allowed their defense to get their offense in rhythm. And when they got stops, they pushed it. They were opportunistic in transition. They were patient in the half-court set. And that's the complimentary basketball Mark Pope has been looking for.
Tennessee Tech just 2 for 16 from behind the arc, led by former Kentucky player John Pelphrey. This is the first time 2 former Kentucky players have coached against each other here at Rupp Arena. Obviously, Mark Pope followed Pelphrey during the Rick Pitino era. It probably hadn't happened that much at the NBA level either. Dan Issel was telling me that he coached against Pat Riley a few times, early 90s when Riley was with the Knicks, and then again a couple of times when Riley was with the Heat. So that's at the NBA level. Now these 2 guys who Mark Pope had to beg John Pelphrey to take this game. He offered it to him a couple of times, and Pelphrey kept saying no. Then he got back to campus, and his wife Tracy said, are you crazy? Like, you've got to take the game. Well, that was deep penetration, a dump in by Juwan Nichols. It was interesting talking to him about it. He said, I hate playing guys I know, playing guys I like. He said, this is a cutthroat business, and you're out on game day just to win the game. And sometimes it's hard to compartmentalize that stuff as Aberdeen splashes down his first 3.
Yeah, you've almost got to get Coach Pelphrey to start talking about it, and he'll get more nostalgic. But when he walks in here right now with his own team, he said, look, we're kind of focused on a game plan, the scouting report, and everything else.
Nichols got a little too deep and off balance. Chandler push ahead to Aberdeen. And now Otega away.
Nice job by Owe, just sprinting the court, and Aberdeen with his head up. He could have thrown a lob to Williams, played it safe, and really had 2 open layups on that one.
And there's a double from Owe. Back out to Cameron, and they work it back to the baseline. Nice cut. Another miss near the paint for Tennessee Tech here in the second half. Chandler. Back out to Aberdeen. Cam Williams will bring it out for a reset. Chandler lets it go. Aberdeen, another offensive rebound, another try. This one pays off.
We can forget about it. You're lucky to get away with 1 open look for Chandler, much less 2. And that all starts with Williams hustling for those offensive rebounds.
So John Pelphrey doesn't like the way this half has started. He uses a timeout, down 3 touchdowns.
For the ACC SEC Challenge.
2 of the best collegiate conferences.
We talk about playing anybody, anywhere, anytime. It's certainly put to the test.
It's going to be way different this year.
ACC all day, baby. We run this.
Wahoo, wah.
You ready for that Texas fight? Go Tigers! Hail State, let's go!
Third annual ACC SEC Challenge begins Tuesday, runs through Thursday. Dane, you look at some of the games that are coming up. It feels like there's so much weight on this 2-day men's side of things, especially based on how the SEC absolutely dominated it last year.
Yeah, I would not expect the SEC to have quite the dominance. That'd be hard to repeat no matter what conference they went up against. And North Carolina, Kentucky, you got to circle that one. And I'm just really anxious to see how Kentucky plays in another primetime matchup, just a little bit of a revenge opportunity against a marquee opponent. That's a North Carolina team that had a very good win against Kansas earlier in the season against superstar Darren Peterson for Kansas, who's out. But that North Carolina team without Seth Trimble, who broke his forearm in the weight room. And so interesting matchup there. Of course, Florida Duke with Boozer, and see how he can handle his own, if he can dominate in the paint against the plethora and stable of bigs the Florida Gators have yet again.
Boozer just one of the handful of incredible freshmen in college basketball this season. By the way, that North Carolina game, Dickie V will be sitting in your seat.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Should I leave him a note?
You should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you can leave them a donation to the V Foundation.
Yeah, I want to get in on the convertible.
They'll say, from Dane and Tom.
Aberdeen the lob. Marino challenged at the rim. Fantastic defense by Brandon Muntu to defend it. Near steal. Here's Owens with the pass to the wing and a 3-ball. Good. Jaquavian Florence. John Pelfrey told us at the shoot-around today he just wanted to survive the first 4 minutes of this game. They did that and then some. And then the same standard for the second half to try and survive the first 4 minutes of this. And Danny Pounds has picked up his fouls in bunches. That's his 4th already. Second this half.
Good set play by Kentucky to get the ball inside. They saw an opportunity in the half court against man-to-man, and it's just trying to get Marino a pin down there. I mean, that is a design post-up play, knowing they could get the angle from the top of the key. And in Kentucky's defense, while it's been a little bit clunky offensively, but that's what Tennessee Tech is doing defensively. They've mixed up several different types of zones, a little bit of pressure, some man, and so it's hard to establish a rhythm against a team that's trying to junk it up a little bit.
Malachi Marino sitting on a 7-point night. Or Kentucky Mr. Basketball, join the likes of Goose Givens, Richie Farmer, both in the building tonight. Dirk Minifield. Reminisce with John Pelfrey about not just his games in this building as a Kentucky player, but also his high school days with Paintsville. Came here 3 times in the Sweet 16. I'll hear a little bit more of that nostalgia from him after the next break. Fake spin move, and Nichols gets tied up by Marino. 3-ball, no good, and Chandler knocked it out of bounds. You didn't think so?
Earlier in the possession, I thought Marino did a just really solid job down low. Juwan Nichols, he's a good player, but he just will not, number 7, he won't go left in the post. He wants to get to that right jump hook, and Marino absorbing the scouting report well. I like Kentucky's aggressiveness here on these sideline out of bounds plays and even baseline out of bounds. I mean, they're looking to get steals. And playing for Bruce Pearl, he used to say, hey, look, when somebody picks up their dribble and it's dead ball, you get in a denial set all the time. You're trying to get a steal. Well, it's a dead ball situation out of bounds. Why not try to deny and get a steal in that scenario too?
Previous fouls on Cam Williams, and now Colin Chandler gets whistled. That's his first. Hammer pass to the corner and rebounded by Marino. Outlet to Chandler. And then he quickly gets it to Aberdeen. Colin Chandler has incredible vision and anticipation. Look at this pass into the corner.
Right,
and nearly picked up another assist. Owens, nope, Chandler the rebound.
He's just always around the ball as Chandler. He's getting a lot of his rebounds, you know, just anticipating where it's going to come off, trailing the play. High IQ guy that just seems to always make the right read. You know, coaches will use the phrase, just get lost in the game and good things will happen. I think that's what Chandler does. He just finds ways to win 50-50 balls, get rebounds, make the right play, and next thing you know, you're open for a 3 and you're getting your own.
Take Owe at the free throw line. He's got a couple coming his way. You look back, you mentioned earlier that Colin Chandler last year really turned it up late in the season, but it took him a while to get going. I think it goes hand in hand with the fact, and this comes after years of covering the BYU program years ago, like to go away for a 2-year LDS mission trip takes you completely away from the game of basketball. The mission is the only thing. And so it's understandable why it would take you a little while, not just to get your legs back, but to get everything back when it comes to performing at a high level.
And then when you're getting
stolen away by Owe. Whoa! Hammer! That aggressiveness on the defensive end paying off for Kentucky. Full court still. McPherson fires away. Rebounded by Noah. Here's Garrison. Noah finds Chandler. Oweh puts it up and in. Otega Oweh going on a mini run. He scored the last 7 now for the Cats.
And I think that's where the three-point ball opens up for Oweh, is after he gets going from 2, gets something in transition at the rim. It seems like his confidence from 3 grows when he sees one go in the paint.
Driving a left-hand spin shot goes for Jaquavian Florence. See if they go back to Oweh, who's been in double figures in 40 of 43 games here at Kentucky. And a kick in the backcourt. 60-35, Kentucky with the lead over John Pelfrey and his Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles. We did a ride-along today on our way to Rupp. Take inside the Tennessee Tech bus with the unforgettable after this.
Do you remember your first time in Rupp?
It's funny you say that, because a memory just came flooding back. We didn't go to the beach. We didn't go to Disney World. We went to the state tournament. Just a bunch of Kentucky sickos. This stuff kind of comes back to me, you know. And I can remember going to Rupp Arena, and it's not like it is now. All those seats are blue now.
Right.
Back then they were multicolored, and it was mesmerizing. You know the Jungle Book?
Mm-hmm.
The snake that kind of comes down around you, and you kind of looks in your eyes, and you start. That's kind of how I was.
Mesmerized.
Totally.
Yeah.
I want to do this.
He came here as a high schooler, but as you mentioned, the Pelfrey family would come here for spring break. There were no family vacations. His late dad Jack, his mom Jenny, they grew up in Murray Avenue, Paintsville, Kentucky, and they would come down here to watch the high school tournament. And I have to think that as Pelfrey kind of exhales there, that it's been an emotional time for him and his family because of his wife Tracy's battle with colorectal cancer. In fact, Tracy, coach's wife through and through, started her college career down the road at Transylvania, and the year ahead of John in school. And she put off her chemotherapy treatments. The latest was supposed to be Monday of this week. She put it off so she would be in good health and good feeling to come with him back to Rupp, to be where they had such a formative part of their life as not just high school but also college sweethearts.
What Coach Pelfrey said is the team has really rallied around her and the great student athletes he has. But he said, look, Tracy has said to me, our staff, our players, don't let my situation make you be less great than you can be. And do not use her as an excuse. And he said that's allowed me to have that balance.
Well, the administration has done a great job as well as Trent Noah throws in a triple. He's got 13, and that includes Tennessee Tech's president, Phil Oldham, and the athletic director, Casey Fox. Said Tracy's got an incredible oncologist, the best coach that she could possibly have. They're right there in Cookeville. And so we're able to practice in the morning, and if she's getting treatment, I can be with her in the afternoon. Near steal, and then out of bounds off of Tennessee Tech. I told him on the bus ride over, like, what he experienced, in my opinion, is probably no different than what thousands of boys who grew up in this state have experienced. The opportunity to grow up a Kentucky fan and then come here into this building, which celebrates its 50th anniversary this season, and to be, in his words, mesmerized by the sights, the sounds, the popcorn, the bands, the pep bands if you're here for the high school tournament.
Well, I think what fans want to see is they want to see a player on the court for Kentucky playing as hard as they would play if they were ever given that dream opportunity.
Yeah.
And when somebody takes it for granted or doesn't play very hard, they're going to call them out. And I think that's where Coach Pelfrey and Coach Pope, certainly leading this program, they make sure it is crystal clear to every recruit, whether they grew up a Kentucky fan or not, knows just how important it is to put on that jersey.
Yelovich up front to Johnson. And an off-balance, off-the-rim shot by Jasper Johnson, his second bucket of the night.
He likes that floater. He doesn't always get all the way to the rim, but he's very comfortable in that 5 to 8 foot range. Soft touch.
Near steal from behind by Oweh as Makai Cameron goes to work. Beautiful pass from Cameron, and the jam finishes it off for Mekhi Turner.
Good low bounce pass there. Good hands.
Yelovich has to dribble out of there. And they slack off of him, so he throws up a three.
Rarely do you dribble out of a double team for a three-point shot, but it kind of opened up for him there. I can't blame him for taking it.
Sophomore from Zagreb, Croatia. Bernardo throws up a triple. And the rebound off of Olway, and why not? C.J. McPherson. Yelovich the board.
But you love to see 4 Kentucky Wildcats all going after that rebound.
Olway took a shot to the head, and he finished it. What a second half. 0-0 Otega Olway. He is stampeding his way to game-high 15 points.
Few are as good in transition, as fast and dynamic as Otega Olway. This is where he's at his best, knifing the defense, and one for Olway.
Well, let's take you back to the first ever game in this building. November 27th, 1976. Goose Givens had the first bucket in here. I was talking to him about Rupp Arena when they came over. He said, we were so excited. The building was huge. We've been playing, obviously, at Memorial. They didn't get a lot of practice in this building before it first opened. You may be able to see the multicolored seats in the background. He said there were 2 issues when we first got in here. Number one, the multicolored seats were really hard from a shooter's background perspective, and the lights were really low. So they changed that around, and look at the history over 50 years in this building.
Rarely can you see the seats, though, right? I mean,
yeah.
This place is pretty packed.
That's Goose. That guy could fill it up. He said, I love shooting on the baseline. And he might be talking about it right now. He's like, every time I would square up on the baseline, I'd be looking into all these different colored seats. He went for a double-double in the first ever game in this building.
Living legend. I mean, you talk about fans that don't forget. He's 2R right, and the entire pregame, he had fan after fan coming down with autograph pictures, said yes to every single one.
Nobody nicer. 16 is the season high for Otega Olway, preseason SEC Player of the Year. We haven't had, by the way, a preseason Player of the Year end up as the Player of the Year since Grant Williams did it for Tennessee. It's been a minute. I blame the media for being wrong.
It's hard to do, to carry the weight of that, and then also, hey, look, the rest of the competition's getting better too, and this is a league that is deep with superstars. So it's no brainer on who's going to be Player of the Year.
You know, I think a big part of that in this day and age is getting new guys hitting them tapped away from behind, right? Whether it's freshmen or others. I mean, nobody knew how good Dalton Connect was going to be a couple of years ago. Oscar, yeah, that was easy to see, but Herb Jones, he didn't come out of nowhere, but he played on a really good team. And while an NBA standout, he was more, let me do the dirty work to stand out.
Yeah, and it's not as if the players on the left for the preseason had bad years. It's just other people had more breakout, valuable years, and oftentimes it's based on how good the team did as well.
Nice reverse for Jasper Johnson.
I asked Goose before the game, I said, how do you like Jasper? He goes, you know, he's good. He's best off the ball. I said, is he a guy that can go get his own bucket? And he just turned and looked at me and goes, I told you.
Oh, just now? Here's Grant Slatton. Cut off. Cameron. His brother is in the big leagues, playing for a couple of different teams, following in his dad Mike's footsteps. Owens with the shake and from the free throw line. We were talking earlier about Pelfrey and Pope going head-to-head as head coaches here. Dick Gabriel tells me that Joby Hall coached against C.M. Newton and Guy Strong. Joe played 2 years under Rupp and then transferred to Swanee. Free ball no good. And a takeaway by Ferguson. And a finish by Jawan Nichols.
Couple careless turnovers for the backcourt of Kentucky. Olway with the bad entry pass, and that time Johnson just a little bit too careless with the ball.
Johnson to Yelovich. Yes, sir. Andrea Yelovich with his first three of the night.
He was shot ready on that one. He was calling for it.
Played in the Adriatic League. He was with Mega Superbet. Sounds like one of those teams that we saw on one of those Bahamas trips in the summer. In fact, I think they were.
I didn't see you
there.
at their shoot-around.
No. Goose and I were on the golf course slatting with the deuce.
I will say after that last three, a concern for this Kentucky team is, all right, Coach Pope likes to shoot a lot of threes, but can they make many of them? They're 8 of 22 so far on this one. But I think a big part of that is the more confident and less hesitant they are on the offensive end and second guessing what the next play is, the better their three-point shooting will be. They have plenty of guys, as you see knocking down one there, that are good to great three-point shooters. We've not seen Cam Williams get hot yet from three. He's 0 for 3 in this one. We've seen Noah get hot. But the more confident they are in the offensive system as a whole, the more comfortable they'll be in their shot selection from deep.
So a breather for Cam Williams. Malik Ferguson and Slatton head to the bench. Here's Moreno at the free throw line.
I like some of this pressure Kentucky's shown here. They've got the athleticism, good long wingspan with their guards, guys that can jump passing lanes, especially Chandler.
It's Ty Owens. This is a Tennessee Tech team that had this game tied at 25. They got off to a fantastic start. First 3 quarters of this game, and then Kentucky with a late first half run to take control. Shot clock's at 5. Here's Cameron for 3. That's off. Rebounded by Yelovich.
This is where I'd like to see Chandler keep going towards the basket. There it is.
And Moreno cleans it up.
I think oftentimes when Chandler's pushing in transition, if it's not wide open, he just kind of stops at the three-point line. He underestimates his athleticism at times. And they've got to have other guys besides Aberdeen and Owe getting to the free throw line.
Double-double for Malachi Moreno, freshman from Georgetown. Pounds was playing with foul trouble. Was able to snake his way in. Again, tried to go over the left shoulder, and the 3 good for Danny Pounds, 6'8", 225. He could be playing for Bobby Wilder's Tennessee Tech football team, which has a playoff game this Saturday at home against North Dakota in FCS playoffs. Coach Wilder just signed an extension today, so congratulations to him. Here's Noah for 3 with a hand in his face, and Yelovich couldn't quite save it. 76-44 on this Thanksgiving Eve. Kentucky and Colin Chandler with a comfortable advantage over Tennessee Tech. Rivalry week matchups throughout on SEC Network Football. Skycast for Texas and Texas A&M from Austin Friday night, and plenty of games in between, finishing with the Iron Bowl. I'm in the mood for a gravy bowl. Here's our starting 5 for Thanksgiving. Dane, a little irresponsible to include Bloody Mary in yours, but I respect the honesty.
I love my cheese grits, a little jalapeno cream spinach, and yeah, Bloody Mary. I mean, if you're going to bring up sensitive political conversations around family on Thanksgiving, what better way to kick that off with little Bloody Mary, huh?
Hey, did you guys hear was at Tony's on Wednesday night? 76-44 the lead. You're an anti-turkey guy?
If I had to choose one, I mean, I respect the turkey, but if when it comes to leftovers, you got some rolls sitting on the side, you're not putting the turkey in the roll for a little sandwich. No, it's that
100%. Slather some mayo on there, be good to go. Maybe some leftover cranberry sauce.
Any family recipes on that?
The apple crisp, the cranberry apple crisp.
Are you in charge of any of those yourself?
No. And I'm not very good at slicing the bird either. I'm really bad at it.
So what do you do here? As someone would say.
We're still trying to figure it out. I open all the wine.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
Yeah. Chandler gives it up to Noah, gets it back. Chandler and Noah are nice tandem together on the same side of the floor. Here's Aberdeen for 3. Yes, sir.
He's an interesting player this season in the SEC because everybody knows his potential. He was such a key supporting role for Florida, but now he's having to play in a starting role. It's not just about, hey, come off the bench, score, play defense. He's got to get others involved.
Marino with the jam.
Game just seems to come easy to Marino. I mean, he makes the right role, still a little bit raw and learning and getting his lateral quickness down, but just seems to understand the game and got to be a big that guards like playing with.
Well, you mentioned the challenges that are ahead for Kentucky in the non-conference, just as well as in the conference. Florida's front line is as good as any in the country. They had success against Purdue's front line in the exhibition. Aberdeen with another. That's his third three this half. But where I'm going with this, Malachi Marino will not be able to shoulder the load on his own in the interior.
I think you bring up a great point. If Brandon Garrison isn't as good or better than Marino by the end of the year, I think that's a problem for Kentucky. They've got to have depth at that position, not any fall off at the 5, because we mentioned Florida, but Tennessee right now has taken a huge step forward because of their front court. They've got depth there with J.P. Estrella, Felix Okpara. They added Jalen Carey from Vanderbilt. And that's why they won that Houston game last night, because they had a front court that they could mix in several guys. And Jacoby Gillespie going off at the point guard spot. That helps too.
Tie up. It will go to Kentucky with the possession arrow.
Well, they're starting to be in a rhythm offensively, and they're seeing a big rim right now. Aberdeen just steps right into that, and again, Chandler here, a nice little inside hand finish. Real smooth game for Colin Chandler. Just gets in the paint. Again, we haven't seen him shoot a mid-range shot to my knowledge. He's either at the rim or from 3. And 4 assists, just 1 turnover. So he's getting his teammates involved as well.
Tennessee Tech goes back to the zone. Here's Aberdeen left alone. Give Chandler another assist. Denzel Aberdeen going off this half. This is his 4th triple in the second half.
And Chandler's he takes a little time on his release, but I think that makes the shot fake even more deadly. I mean, as soon as he raises that ball up, you've got to respect it. And we've seen him with ball fakes and shot fakes get his teammates open.
And now in transition, no look, just a hair behind Cam Williams. And Chandler ends up with it. Advantage somewhere. Here's Williams. Left it behind. Beautiful strip by C.J. McPherson. Touch pass, and Florence with the finish. An unselfish play by Tennessee Tech. Marino with the cross-court pass.
I think this is an opportunity to work on that lineup with 2 bigs in at the same time. We've seen them make adjustments that they're going to have to be able to play with these 2 at the same.
89-46, Kentucky controlling Tennessee Tech. Stay with us. You won't believe what Dane's going to say next. By Allstate.
Well, this was the most exciting play of the game, and what really got the crowd electrified for good reason. Colin Chandler up and away, takes the contact and still continues rising, and then we see him here with a no-look pass against that zone, finding his guy Noah, who's had a near perfect game. These guys have really fed off each other, but Colin Chandler has been the difference maker. His energy on both ends of the court has been really phenomenal.
He has started every game this season, and tonight Chandler has gone for 14, 5 boards, and 5 assists. He's 3 points better than his season average tonight.
Well, this is a Kentucky team that has star power, but they have balanced scoring. They've got 5 guys now with 13 or more. And I don't care who you're playing against, that becomes tough to defend. Who you keying on, who you trying to take away if you're an opponent.
6 different leading scorers in the first 6 games of the season for Kentucky. Johnson with 2 on the shot clock. Yes, sir! Jasper Johnson going OTE on us. He's got 2 triples this half.
That was nasty. Just behind the back a couple times, shakes the defender.
Kentucky has scored 16 of the last 18, and now Florence going to the free throw line.
Jasper Johnson going to do this on his own. Late shot clock. What are you going to do about that, man?
So Jaquavian Florence goes to the free throw line. Florence and Cameron grew up playing with each other around the Atlanta area. Jaquavian out of South Atlanta High School. A couple different stops. Came from Lee's McRae Division II program to Tennessee Tech. Quick bucket on the other end.
Good job by Williams. I mean, you just get a quick advance pass by Johnson, making it simple.
And Yelovich ends up with the rebound on that air ball.
I think this Kentucky team's been running better in this game. They've been running their lanes, and that's one way to help the half-court offense is to get the transition going.
Noah with the splash down. He's got a career high tonight.
He's been phenomenal. 5 of 6 from the field, including 4 of 5 from deep. No turnovers. He's played a flawless game.
Payne for 3. Yes. It's his first bucket of the night. And now Williams. Well, if they can shoot like this, the sky will cease falling here in the Bluegrass. 100-point night. Season high in threes for the Cats. 29 of their 65 shots have come from deep. Let's turn it into the NBA All-Star game here. Payne puts in a 3.
Well, last few minutes here, Tennessee Tech's gotten a few buckets, but this Kentucky defense putting together a couple good games in a row. Last game they only allowed the top scorer to have 7, and this one just 11. So
the Sunday night SEC Insight gets you an all-access pass to the women's volleyball tournament. It returned this year. The crowd was amazing, and Coach Skinner and his Cats on the court took care of it. It's 8 Eastern, 7 Central right here on the SEC Network with the all-new ESPN app. There's a celebration among the confetti last night. Walker Horn on the floor. I told him, I said, you're shooting a lot of shots when you get in. You have to be averaging more shots taken per minute than anybody. He said, you told me to. He's the walk-on that has yet to make a bucket in his Kentucky career.
His pops is here, coming off a good win against Wofford earlier today. Coach Darren Horn, Kentucky.
I think they got a baseline out of bounds for number 11.
Just got to call your own number.
Nine seconds on the shot clock. Here's Horn. 3 to shoot. And he's doubled and try to get rid of it. It'll stay with the Cats. 0.8. What does this group have drawn up for 0.8 of a second?
You know, conventional wisdom would tell you lob to Garrison, but lob to Horn. Give him a back pick. Throw that thing up.
Here he is. Turns and fires. Yes! Yes! It took an off-balance shot for him to get his first bucket as a Wildcat. That might be the play of the night.
0.8 seconds, comes off hard, desperation heave, cash, money, Walker Horn. This place went bananas. They threw drinks all over the floor. We've got a delay of game warning as Rupp has exploded.
Yes.
And he points to Tom Hart, who has just challenged him year after year. The motivation that you've brought to this young man. I mean,
I told him, I was like, listen, your box score is all zeros. First, we have to get the shots up, and then we got to get them to come in.
And who would have thought that it would come after a double team where deflection got the ball out of bounds and sets up the shot with 0.8 left.
He had a point to the corner. I wonder if that's where his parents are sitting. He should acknowledge his parents before he acknowledges me. I understand, but I'm coaching the best I can. (103-54).
Yeah, what I love about this is you feel like everybody in this building knows that that's his first career point. Like
yes.
the knowledge of this fan base to all have the same hype, enthusiasm, stay to the bitter end, and celebrate this huge shot.
Those dudes courtside were so excited they threw their drinks on the court.
0 for 5 from 3 coming into this one.
Walker was out there getting his scout team work in today when we entered Rupp for the Kentucky shoot-around. I had to go in and watch some film. He's a big basketball fan. I mean, he's watching every game all night. And now Zachary Tao gets fouled, and he'll have a chance to go to the free throw line. And on a night, the guys at the end of the Kentucky bench. And the Madisonville native gets his first point. Before he put on a Kentucky uniform, he was the president of the Beta Theta Pi chapter here. And Sky Guy goes 1 of 2 from the line.
And now Tao has bragging rights over Hornbeck. Look, I got my first point in 2 years. It took you 4. Imagine what's going to happen by my senior year.
Well, Tennessee Tech continues a SEC tour. They'll go home for Thanksgiving. Then they head to Athens and take on Mike White's Georgia team. And they have to leave with some confidence over the way they played in the first half. But Kentucky over the century mark. It's a 104-54 victory for the Cats. A late first half run, and Mark Pope's team was able to put this one to bed as they welcomed former Cat John Pelphrey to the building. It's been an emotional year for John Pelphrey and his family with his wife Tracy. Battling cancer, her treatments will start anew. And we know how much this building and this program means to him. Then they embark on OVC play.
Well, first 10 to 12 minutes of this game wasn't pretty for Kentucky, but boy, did they settle in. They got things going defensively, which helped their offense, and then the second half, it was bombs away as Kentucky goes 15 of 30 from deep and starting to get their confidence back as a team.
Well, Colin Chandler had a highlight of a night, and he played with a lot of intensity. He got it done, a 14-point night, 2 for 6 from 3. Dane, not just impressive with the aggressiveness with which he played, but the passing was magnificent. And when he was open, he was able to knock a few down.
Yeah, vision, energy, shooting, attacking the rim. I thought just played with the confidence and swagger that Kentucky wants to see out of their players. And Chandler really is what got this fan base ignited when they needed it in that first half.
Yeah, it was a little quiet up to them, but then he got it going, and Colin nice enough to join us now. Congratulations on a big game. Let's start with the moment of the game. I don't think anybody would disagree. Walker Horn getting his first bucket.
Yes, that was no surprise to anybody on the bench. We were excited, but it wasn't like a surprised excited. He does that every day at practice. He's a shooter, man. So
you're very humble. I appreciate it. Let's talk about your game tonight. That's for you. Ortega's trying to pick up the assist. What's it been like for this team so far? You guys haven't hit your stride totally yet with a couple of losses, but it felt like tonight there was great chemistry on the court.
For sure. It's an everyday thing, for sure. And we have a lot of big games coming up. Every game, we don't look forward to any game in particular, so we took today as a time for us to come get better, take a step forward, and build on what we've already built. So I think today was a huge step forward for us, getting ready for Tuesday.
You had a 2-year mission trip after high school. You come back to Kentucky last year, or come to Kentucky. How would you compare your body and your game and just your confidence right now versus this time last year?
For sure. I mean, it's night and day for sure, especially from like the beginning of the year. Gradually, I started to get things back, and it was a huge process, and continues to be a process just like any basketball player. It's a little bit more normal now, a normal trajectory, and getting better every day and working on things I need to. But it was definitely a spurt last year where it was tough, but every game and every day.
Because you're catching some bodies right now, man. I mean, there are guys that are sitting there, opponents like, I didn't see this from him last year. Your film is changing for opponents right now.
Hopefully I don't lose the surprise right now. I enjoy it.
Well, let's talk about what you enjoy the most. The highlight dunks have been magnificent. You had the two-hand jam in the first half tonight, but the passing, especially the no-look passing, I think is what has wowed some people. What do you enjoy doing better?
Making plays for my teammates is probably the best answer for that. That's our goal right now, and how we build chemistry as a team is we're out there, and today I think might have been our best showcase of that, of trying to make plays for each other, because that's when the games becomes really fun.
How comfortable and confident are you when you penetrate and you see Noah move without the ball to an open spot?
Yeah.
What's going through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, it might look like I'm like looking around for who to pass. I know who I'm passing it to.
Yeah.
I know he's in the corner. I know he's waiting. So, yeah, I'm always looking. Everybody's looking for.
He had a career high.
Yeah.
Many thanks to you for setting him up.
Congratulations. Happy Thanksgiving.
You. Appreciate it. Happy
Colin
Thanksgiving,
Chandler
guys.
and Kentucky cross the century mark tonight. A 104-54 final here at Rupp Arena. So Cats did what they needed to do. They have won the games they are supposed to win, and now they've got to stretch for their next 5 against not just ranked opponents, but top opponents. That's going to do it for our broadcast tonight from Rupp Arena. For Dane Bradshaw, our fantastic crew, I'm Tom Hart. Thanks for being with us tonight. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.